So, hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Francisco.
And I'm Ines.
And we are both members at ShARE. ShARE is an international student think tank, and we mainly develop consulting projects around the world. As Ines just said, our colleague Beto did the project we are about to present to you last semester, but as he is abroad studying, we will be the ones presenting it to you. So we are addressing the issue of automation and how can it correlate with the textile industry in Portugal. Well, to make this project possible, we used two interviews with two professors at the Faculty of Economics in Porto, Professora Helena Martins and Professor João Ribeiro. And we also did a survey with 32 CEOs and HR department and project managers in textile companies in Portugal. For the next 20 minutes or so, we will be talking to you about the textile industry in Portugal, what's the state of the art right now, and how can automation evolve and be willing to give something to this industry. The textile industry in Portugal is a rather important industry. In fact, it represents 8% of the total manufacturing industry, and it employs 20%, about a fifth, of all the population in the secondary sector of Portugal. Most companies are situated in the north, especially in Braga and Porto. And even though that Portugal is not very recognized internationally for this industry, it is known that the companies are very adaptable and can evolve very quickly. Most companies in Portugal are still small and medium-sized companies, and this brings an issue that we have in most sectors, and especially in this one. And that problem is the productivity and the value added that companies can have. The fact is that when we compare ourselves to the rest of Europe, our country has very low wages. Our employees receive less than other countries in Europe, and this makes them less productive. Also, this could mean that as we have lower production costs, we could be more competitive with other countries, but the wages are not low enough, and that is a good thing. They are not low enough for us to compete with some Asian countries like India or China in the production of low-end products. Also, we face a very scarce competition in terms of other European countries. When we talk about high-end products, countries like France or Italy are well known for their design levels and are way ahead of us on the production of these aspects. Also, our industry, since we have very small companies and most of them are familiar, our industry is still very dependent on labor. Even though that there are some companies, some big companies who are already very automated, most of them are not as much automated. And when we ask the managers and responsibles of the companies, well, how did they see the market and their companies, it was very clear that they thought that they depended a lot on the workers. We can see that almost 40% of the companies think that in the scale from 1 to 5 are 4 in terms of labor dependency, and that's a very conclusive number. Since the companies are very labor dependent, we can see that there is a gap for the evolution of technology to come into play. It is expected that by 2019, there will be 1.4 million industrial robots operating. When we consider an industrial robot, we know that the cost of production will be very low. In fact, an industrial robot costs about 1/4 of what the labor cost is when we talk about humans. That 4 of you in there cost as much as one robot. So it would be much more efficient for companies to use robots. Also, since the cost is so low, the investment of companies could be regained in the time span of 2 or 3 years. So we can conclude that the fact that the fourth industrial revolution is right around the corner and that every industry is getting more and more automated, we can see that this trend will also come to the textile industry in Portugal and around the world.
So it is obvious that technological evolution is taking over people's jobs. That means that automation is taking over people's jobs. Actually, a study said that by 2020, in the top 15 economies, 510 million of jobs will be substituted by robots. So the labor substitution process consists in higher productive and less workers need, which means less new positions created, and the labor is obviously substituted by augmentation, which leads to more unemployment. Francisco already talked about the revolutions, the industrial revolutions, and as you can see by the graph that we have here, the fourth industrial revolution actually brought us less new jobs in less new industries, just a value of 0.5% by the years of 2000. So, even the service industry is also suffering from this wave of job destruction, but also the manufacturing industry, such as the textile and clothing industry, especially here in Portugal. So, there are 3 new technologies that have been created, such as the virtual reality technology. This means that you can actually now try on clothes without getting undressed, which sounds very great. And this means more online shopping. I think we already have a lot of online shopping, but this means even more because you don't have to get away from home to try on new clothes. And also less need for shop assistants. So this means that there will be less jobs available for them. Also, the other kind of technology is the information technology that uses cloud computer and big data. So less workload for market operators. This means more employment for them also. And also something that has been talked about here during this conference, the AI, the artificial intelligence, that helps us to make our own home design, so less need for designers. But like almost everything in life, this is not everyone shares the same opinion, and some people actually say that technology revolution will bring and create more jobs. As you can see by the graph that we have, after the fourth industrial revolution, jobs created versus jobs lost have a huge difference, being new jobs a lot more than jobs lost. So, even though jobs like shop assistant can disappear, new jobs can come up, such as in the PRT, the personal rapid transit, and in the 3D printing, a hot topic right now. For example, 5 years ago, we didn't have the need to have anyone that knew about 3D printing. But now, we actually have a new job that is the 3D printing material expert, which I didn't know about. So, the survey is something that we actually take a lot in consideration during our outputs. And when we asked the managers what they thought about this new technological revolution, most of them said that the employment would decrease. Some of them said it wouldn't change at all, and 20% of them said it would increase. So, taking back to the first slide and to the first question, is technology a friend or enemy? I think this is a topic that people have different perspectives, so it isn't consensual. About the man versus machine dilemma, we still don't know if the man is the right solution or if the machine will be a better solution. So, just to sum up this output, companies should prepare their workforce for the revolution of the technology, because although some people don't like this technological revolution, we have to adapt because this will not change. And although some people think this wouldn't be the right thing, it is true that technology helps our jobs to be easier, and it helps us to make future intelligent managers better and to form better employees. So, answering the first question, that is the whole objective of this output, automation friend or enemy, we still think that combining human and machines is the best solution. Thank you.